What's up, YouTube? This is True Raw 4 TV. All right, so, I seen an article. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a link to this article in the pinned comment in the comment section below. And in this article, it has a list of the 20 worst three-point shooters in the history of the NBA. That's what it says. The 20 worst three-point shooters in the history of the NBA. And the worst three-point shooter by percentage, according to this list, in the history of the NBA, is none other than, you guessed it, Russell Westbrook. Okay? And it says that Russell is only a 30.5% career three-point shooter. Because everybody knows that, hey, if you don't shoot threes well, then you don't belong in the NBA. Because it's all about shooting threes. Right? Except for when you're Joe Harris and you shoot threes well, but you don't play defense. Then it doesn't matter. I guess. Whatever. But anyway, I said Russell Westbrook, the worst three-point shooter. That's not true. So I go to StatMuse and type in who is the worst three-point shooter in NBA history by percentage. And then I get Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson, three-time NBA champion, 1979 Finals MVP when he was playing with the Sonics. 9-time all-defensive team. Dennis Johnson, one of the greatest defenders the league has ever seen, Dennis Johnson. 17.2% from outside for his career. See, when he played, the three-point shot was not of the same importance as it is today. So then I saw other players from the 80s, who were great players, but the three-point shot was an afterthought, so it didn't really matter. Guys like Michael Ray Richardson was on that list. I think guys like, what's his name? What's his face? The real AD, Adrian Dantley, James Worthy was on that list. Guys, back then where it was more about inside and mid-range. Charles Barkley was one of the first power forwards to try to shoot from outside and expand his game to three-point range. And there were some games where he had some success. But for his career overall, he was a 26.6% three-point shooter, Charles Barkley. Let me look him up right quick. Charles Barkley. Now, if you look at Charles Barkley's career, he was never a great three-point shooter. The best he ever shot was around 34% during the 94-95 season. He was never a great three-point shooter. From 87 until the year he retired, he was around 27% three-point shooter. So you get the point. He was never a great three-point shooter, but that was not really his game, right? So, Russell Westbrook, when he won the MVP a couple of years ago, I remember people saying, when he was popular, right? When he was Mr. Triple-Double, when he was the one that brought in this surge of players starting to focus on triple-doubles, right? And the league tried to justify that by saying, well, this is the day's players and they can do all these things, score, rebound, assist, blah, 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 whatever. They would say, well, that's not Russell Westbrook's game. I mean, his game is not to shoot from outside. This is one of the greatest drivers to the basket we've ever seen. This is one of the most athletic point guards we've ever seen. And he could do it all. He could do what Oscar did on a yearly basis, Oscar Robertson, all this bullshit. But when they want to disparage Russell Westbrook now they talk about everything that he can't do. I saw today they talked about his 3-point shooting and how he can't shoot and how he's turnover prone and all of these things. But it's funny because Allen Iverson got the same treatment. Allen Iverson routinely was in the top 3 in turnovers. He could not shoot from outside. He was not the most efficient scorer, but yet he was still able to take his team to the NBA Finals. And I'm not trying to say that Russell Westbrook and AI are the same players, but in my opinion, and yes, Russ has lost with players around him that he should have been able to win with. But he's also, unlike KD, has never played on a super team. Because if you don't put KD on that super team, does KD have any championships? Most likely no. And KD and Russ will be in the same boat. To me, Russ has never been on a team where he's been played the right role. To me, Russ cannot be the best player on a championship team. He's just that's just not how it works with him. It's a 3-point league. He's not a 3-point shooter. He can't be the best player on the team. Russ, to me, would be better off if he were either coming off the bench, a role that he has to embrace that role for the Lakers if they're going to win. He either has to come off the bench or he has to totally reinvent himself as an off-the-ball player, playing defense, grabbing rebounds, things like that. Like cutting down on his turnovers, making better decisions. Almost like Dennis Johnson. But he'll never be Dennis Johnson. But something like that. Like how Dennis Johnson was able to reinvent himself with Boston. So, at the end of the day, that list is bullshit. Okay? Also, it says minimum 2,500 tips, which eliminates everybody that played before 2000 for the most part. So it's like, a lot of these lists are propaganda to me, man. It's shit you really can't take seriously. You read it, you look at it. Me personally, I can look at a lot of stuff and I can just smell the propaganda a mile away. So, Dennis Johnson's the worst 3-point shooter we've ever seen, and he's a Hall of Famer. So fuck the 3-point line at some point. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not Steph Curry.